Hello, everybody. A very warm welcome along to SportsBet TV with me, Paul Alster. I'm back with you for another look at the weekend action. It is, of course, the Easter weekend, and there is a ridiculous amount of racing across Britain and Ireland on Saturday. I've got three selections for you, and they're all double-figure prices, so we're hoping for a really decent run from these three. If you happen to be discovering me for the very first time, well, do press the subscribe button just below this screen, and then you'll be made aware each and every time a bulletin appears. And I'm always looking for big priced horses, which means that just by dint of the odds and the way things work, there are going to be thin times, but there are also going to be times, as many of my regular followers know, when we hit the jackpot big style. That wasn't the case over the Grand National meeting, I'm afraid. It just didn't pan out for us. The Friday selections, for example, Foxy Jack's in the top of them, going okay for some of the way. Then he decided to take an absolutely crashing fall, and he brought down 4 or 5 other horses. What absolute chaos Foxy Jack's caused. Then brewing up a storm, something clearly went very wrong with him, and he was pulled up. So let's hope that he is okay. On Grand National Day itself, well, you kind of got the feeling it wasn't going to be our day when poor old Isabel Williams came down at the first on Don Levant. Of course, she went on to win a graded race at Cheltenham this week, so it just shows the way the luck can go. Captain Orr ran as though he was what we call over the top. He'd had enough for the season at the end of a long campaign, and he ran fairly poorly. And then in the Grand National itself, well, our rank outsider, the 100 to 1 shot, Demand de Lille, was running an absolute blinder in about 6th or 7th place, going well, when he came to a crashing and thundering halt at the chair, I'm afraid. So that was the end of his game. But on a much more serious note, our main selection, Discorama, who had been ridden towards the sort of centre to rear of the field for the first circuit, pulled up very quickly after crossing the Melling Road, coming back towards the chair, and was dismounted. Now, at the time, it didn't appear to be anything too serious. I just thought maybe he'd gone lame. But it turned out that he'd broken his pelvis. And very sadly, he had to be euthanized. And that is such a shame for Connections, as it was also for Emma Lavelle, whose Eclair Surf lost his fight after a very heavy fall earlier in the race. These are the risks that can be taken, and we often take it for granted. But of course, what a result it was. A fabulous, fabulous result for racing, and the superb Sam Whaley-Cohen, the best amateur British rider of the last generation, winning on Noble Yates, who was very hard to find really on what he'd done this season. But it was an absolute peach of a ride, especially the way he grabbed the rail at the elbow to keep Mark Walsh on his outside on any second now. That was a ride of which any of the top professionals would have been very proud. And what a way to retire. Fabulous. Sam Whaley-Cohen, and a Grand National winner who, of course, was far younger than anybody had anticipated would be possible. So we're looking ahead now to Easter Saturday. There are 9 meetings across Britain and Ireland, and I'll be quite honest, I haven't gone through them all. I've focused on Musselburgh, Haydock and Newbury, and I've come up with one selection at each track. And the very first of them is at Musselburgh in the 2:39 race, or these staggered times, unusual times, to make sure they give races a chance to be seen in their entirety with such a busy schedule. So the Musselburgh 2:39, a 5-furlong handicap, the Holyrood Cup. It's worth 50,000 quid. So it's a proper sprint handicap, this, 11 runners, and the going is good to soft. Well, the horse they're making favourite is a horse trained by Mick Appleby called Racel, who had a blinding time of things at the end of last year. He won his last 5 in handicap company, going up £21. But I anticipate it will be tougher this season, starting off a much higher mark. But they put him in first time out this season, a 3-1 favourite. This bulletin, by the way, being recorded Friday morning, rather earlier than usual, because I've been ordered by my better half to be going out this afternoon with friends, seeing as it's the holiday period. So early on Friday, Racel 3-1 favourite for the 2:39. Zarzini is the other one, fairly short, at 4-1 for David Barron. It's been second in each of its last 4 runs on the all-weather, £7 higher than its last turf win, but clearly is in good heart. Scott Dixon has a progressive sprinter called Fine Wine, who's been winning on the all-weather at Southall this winter and showed he could be equally as good on turf with a good second place at Pontefract just a week or two back, and he is unexposed on turf. He's around 8-1. And then good old Dakota Gold, great old sprinter for Michael Dodds, who trains there up in the northeast. He can go well fresh, and a bold show is certainly not out of the question, with the odd having had a winner at HQ during the Craven meeting. But my choice in this race is another northern sprinter called Mackinac, trained by Julie Camacho, who of course has done really well with another sprinter, Judicial, who's been flying the flag for the stable for years. And Paul Mulrennan, an excellent northern jockey, is on board. Now, Mackinac is a 7-year-old who's won 6 of his 32 races. And of particular interest about this horse is that he has an excellent record at Musselburgh. He's run there 4 times, he's won twice and gone very close on the 2 other occasions. Now, he's also gone very well fresh in the past, so this 5.5-month absence from racecourse duty shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now, he did win in 2020, first time out at Newmarket, where he beat a very good handicapper called Copper Knight, who is set to reoppose. I think he might get the better of Copper Knight here. He didn't win in 8 attempts last year in 2021, but he did go very well on a number of occasions. He was beaten just a short head here off a mark of 99 in August, and then he was beaten a nose and a head here at Musselburgh in October. So clearly, this course does bring out the best of him. He could so easily have grabbed 2 wins if the nod had gone his way. So he's starting back this new season off a mark of 97, which is attractive. And Julie's horses are in decent nick. She's had a winner in the last few weeks and some good placed horses. So I think Mackinac is worth a real shout here each way on a course he loves. And at the time of this recording, early on Friday, 10-1 offered each way. That is with Bet365, BetVictor, Coral, Boyle Sports, Betway, and Ladbrokes amongst those I've been looking at. It may well prove to be that some of them offer 4 places as well once the markets really get going at the end of racing Friday and on into Saturday. So Mackinac is my choice. He is the one at Musselburgh in the 2:39 race. My second selection on Saturday, Easter Saturday, is the Haydock 319, over 2 miles, another £50,000 race, a handicap hurdle on a very good jumps card at Haydock. 12 runners, they're going good to soft. It's always, I think, chancing it a little bit this time of year betting over jumps, because so many horses have had a hard season and they could well be kind of coming to the end of their tether. But on the other hand, there are other horses who have been rested during the winter campaign when it's really soft ground, who have been weighted with to come back out for the better ground for the summer campaign. So it can be a time where if you can find the right type, you can make money. But a lot of horses that have shown form are likely to disappoint at this time of year. But this does look a really open contest. There's only one firm have gone up early at the time I'm recording this piece, and that's good old William Hills, who are betting 9-2 the field. Now, their over-round suggests that a lot of these are going to drift, so I think we could be getting better odds than they're showing at the moment. Zabil Champion is the one they've made favourite for John Joe's Senior and Junior. Very happy birthday, by the way, to the great John Joe O'Neill. Celebrated his 70th birthday this week. It's hard to believe the great John Joe is 70. And his Zabil Champion, a 6-time flat winner, is 1 from 3 over hurdles. He's very unexposed, and he runs up a mark of 116 only, so he could be a blot on the handicap. You just never know. Now, one trainer who's had a brilliant season over the jumps is Donald McCain. He passed the 150 winner mark recently, on 152 winners now, and he's got 2 runners in the race. Chitty Balco, who tends to go well here over this course and distance, and also Blakeney Point, who's been out of form really, but has come a long way down the weights, and a revival is not out of the question. Another trainer who's done particularly well this season is a northern trainer, Rebecca Menzies in County Durham. She's had 31 winners over jumps this term at a cracking strike rate, and she runs Ingleby Hollow, who won at Doncaster in November. And he, I think, could be better for a recent comeback when he was 3rd at Ayr. He's one of these horses that was rested through the winter, so he should be sharper for that comeback run. And we've also got another northern handler, John Quinn, a trainer I like very much, He's got a horse called First Impression, who's on a fair mark, and the wonderful Brian Hughes, 195 winners in a stellar season. He's on board, and he's been first and second on this horse this season already. So First Impression is feared. But I'm pretty sweet on the horse at the top of the weights here called Oakley. Oakley is trained by Richard Bandy, another young up-and-coming trainer, and Harry Bannister will ride. Now, Richard Bandy, you may or may not have heard too much about him, but he's been doing great things this season. He's based down in Hampshire. He's only had 74 runners all season, but 16 of them have won. Plenty more have placed, and he's operating at a winning strike rate of 22%, which for a small yard is very, very good indeed. He's got a horse called Coram Cross, who runs at Haydock on Saturday, but he goes in the 2:44. He's not without a chance by any means, so you might want to give him a coat of looking at. But Oakley, I feel, can defy top weight of 11 stone 12. He's a horse who was formerly trained by Philip Hobbs, best at 2 miles on good or good to soft ground, so the going is going to be absolutely ideal. Over a period of seasons, they had rock solid handicap form for Philip Hobbs, particularly in the 2019 and 20 campaigns. He finished 7th of 24 in the Red Hot Newbury Betfair Hurdle off 139. He was 6th of 17, actually on heavy ground, which wouldn't really have suited him, to Not So Sleepy in the Grade 3 Ascot Handicap Hurdle in December of 2020. And then he joined Richard Bandy after a quiet year. He joined him in December of 21, which is some 4 months ago. He started by finishing 3rd at Wincanton, which was a good start. And then he didn't stay when they tried him over 2 miles, 3 furlongs at Taunton. So that didn't work out. But then last time out, dropped back to 2 miles at Stratford on a fairly decent surface. He bounded away from them, leaving the back straight, went 6 or 7 lengths clear, jumped the last, and then was idling, really, was dossing in front. And in the end, he only scored by 3/4 of a length. And Osprey Call was the horse who closed him down. On the face of it, on the revised terms, you'd probably say, well, on the figures, Osprey Call should turn it around. But I'm really of the opinion that in this stronger race with a faster pace, more competitive, Oakley will not be dossing in front this time. And I think the handicapper has noticed that. He's put him up £6 for 3/4 of a length. So he knows the horse was far a better value than the 3/4 of a length by which he won. I think they've got him back exactly where they want him, this horse. And despite top weight, he's running much better races than this over the last few years at times. He's got his conditions, he's in form, he's at his optimum trip, and the 10-to-1 offered each way pretty much a general price, with the one firm rather, William Hills, but I think that will be a general price, and I think there will be firms offering a little bit more. So do look out for that. But they only offer 10-to-1 each way with William Hills early is the guide price for Oakley at Haydock on Saturday in the 3:19. And then the final choice. Well, Newbury stage, a very good card. It's Green Day down at Newbury. I couldn't come to a decision on any of the classic trials races there. But the one I do like, as those that follow me regularly will know, is the big handicap. And the 3:35 is the Newbury Spring Cup. It's over the straight mile, 17 runners, good ground. And it is fiendishly difficult. There are a host of runners with proper chances. I'm going to highlight a few, including the forecast favourite, the 7-2 chance Rogue Bear for Tom Clover, who was very progressive, winning his final 2 starts at the end of last season. And then he stayed on really well after meeting a bit of trouble early on to finish 3rd in the Lincoln on his only start this season, and he runs off the same mark. So you can see why he's fancied. And the Lincoln handicap has a lot of threads in this particular race because Salame for Simon and Ed Crisford was second there. He ran a blinder. He's only gone up £1. He's back for more. Charlie Appleby's Modern News was 7th in the Lincoln. He's running off the same mark, but unlike many, he'd already had a run at Maydown, so I'm not quite sure how much improvement there is to be had from him. And William Haggis has Irish Admiral, who was 4th in the Lincoln, and he'll probably be better for the run, and he looks very dangerous, Irish Admiral. A few others amongst the 17 to consider. Nigel Tinkler, who trains at Malden, of course, has Isla Kay, who won 3 times in good races last season, gone up a stone and a half. He's returning from 239 days off. He could be a progressive horse this year as well. Excuse me. I very nearly tipped Richard Hannon's horse, Teodolina, with Jamie Spencer and eye-catching booking. She was 14th in the Lincoln. Now, this one won over the straight mile in a good Ascot handicap last year, and it's one of those hold-up horses on which Jamie Spencer really excels. So I think Teodolina could outrun big odds. But in the end, I've come down on the side of a horse called Orban, who is trained by David O'Mara, and it's the mount of David Probert, who on Friday is going to be crowned the all-weather champion jockey. He's had a wonderful winter and he's riding tremendously well. Now, Orban's last win came at York back in July of 2020 off a mark of 100. He's put in plenty of good efforts since then, including finishing 5th in last year's Lincoln in 2021. The rest of last season, he wasn't quite at his best, although he did go close on a number of occasions at Doncaster. But overall, wasn't quite firing on all cylinders, and he has come down the weights. And he now starts this season on a very good mark, and he ran a really eye-catching race on his reappearance up at Redcar in Cleveland. Not one of the most inspiring courses, Redcar. I always say you kind of don't feel 100%. You have to drive in through a cemetery to get to the race course. Not the best atmosphere. Anyway, but it didn't affect Orban. It was running a very good race. And as usual, slowly away and then gradually making his ground. He was travelling up very strongly when he stopped in his run, just inside the 2 marker. And his jockey that day didn't really knock him about too much. First run of the season and all that. Now, that will have blown the cobwebs away. He's a 7-year-old, and often they do need a run as they get a bit older. And the Brucey bonus is that he's been dropped a pound for that effort. So he's now down to just 90. So he's £10 lower than his last winning mark and lower than quite a few good runs he put in last season. And I think, a bit like Teodolina, he's going to love the fast pace. He'll be held up. There's lots of room at Newbury to pick a spot on the straight there. And I can see him threading his way through under David Probert and David O'Mara, another trainer with his horses in very good form at the moment. So I'm very happy to recommend him. 25 to 1 each way. 5 places are offered by Paddy Power, Betfair, same company, of course, Bet Victor and Parry Match. So Orban is the one for me in the Newbury Spring Cup at 3.35. So just the 3 selections this time. So not a Yankee or a lucky 15, maybe a patent or a round robin, little bit each way there. Don't go mad. It's tough racing on Saturday, but it's the holiday period. I hope the weather stays good. And whether you're celebrating Easter, Passover or Ramadan or anything else you care to celebrate, enjoy the holiday weekend. And I'll be back same time next week with my selections. Once again, remember to press the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Bye-bye for now.